Berkshire Hathaway. I've been in real estate since 2001. I started real estate, so at the time I was in turf grass seed sales and had a young son and was traveling a bunch and was getting ready to sell a house, and I had 3 different realtors come by, and the first one that came by said, "Hey, I'm here, here's an MLS book." Does everybody remember an MLS book? Anyone?
I know.
Okay. So it was a book. It came out, I think, once a month
Right.
with all the listings, and that was our MLS.
That was your internet.
That was our internet. There was everything was carbon copied by pen. There was no form simplicity or anything. It's totally different. But anyway, gives me the book and then proceeds to invite me to join Amway. And then the second person that came along dropped off the book and said, "When you find a house, let me know, and then we'll sell this one." And then the third one was, at the time, my cousin, or my fiance's cousin, I guess. And he just said, "Let me know what you want me to do." I don't know. It was nothing. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And so anyway, I was like, these guys are making decent money. I'm traveling 2 weeks out of the month and making a salary. I'm gonna do that and bust my butt in this. So I got into real estate in 2001 May. So sold 9 deals that year, got Rookie of the Year, and then the next year, this is my claim to fame, I sold 50% of the properties over $1 million that were in the MLS, which was 2 out of 4. So,
You were famous.
oh man, that was big time. So, anyway, that's how I got into real estate, and I'm sure there's other stuff I won't go into all the pivots yet, but.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So when you had that book, the MLS book, did they drop it off?
Yes,
you could
to the
just have it.
office.
You could
A
have
stack
it.
of
You
them.
weren't
Remember
supposed to do that.
Okay.
Oh,
But
to the person.
To the
Right.
person, like, knock them dead.
Oh,
You
like they
copied
don't
it.
give the
You
book to
photocopied
buyers,
it.
because that's the only book you.
well, no,
Yeah,
but
I
it
remember
had
it, yeah.
hundreds. In
It was on your-
2002, I was
the CCR
carrying like 100 listings.
Yeah.
So these books were this thick,
It's a phone book.
and it was impossible to see any. The photos were black and white. They were this big.
Different time.
Yeah.
Good times.
All right, Michaela, let's hear.
Michaela Corcoran Hall, I do not, I was gonna say Berkshire Hathaway, Avalon 24 Real Estate. Yeah, right. I've been in the business for 18 years. I grew up in the business. Both my parents, my mom was a realtor and broker of RE/MAX, and I really didn't want to get in the business at all. I had no desire, grew up in it, always in the back seat with my sisters, and they would constantly be talking about real estate. And my dad said, "I'm gonna get you your real estate license, I'll pay for it, you just have to go do it." So I reluctantly went and got it in 2004, and did really well. My first year was Rookie of the Year, my first year, and made a 6-figure income at the age of 21. And I was like, I think I do like this, actually. And so now 18 years later, still doing it, and have a team, and I'm enjoying my time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I see a pattern here. I'll tell you in a minute. I, as well as Michaela, started in 2004. And before that, I had been at Applebee's on Hanley for the 10 years. So this is my 18th year in real estate. And I just was tired of managing people and cooks. And I loved the people in the restaurant, but I thought, I gotta do something for myself. So got into real estate, and I too was Rookie of the Year. I'm at Century 21, have been, kind of a fixture there. And not only do I sell, but I get to recruit, retain, and train new agents. So I'm always learning something new or doing something different, which keeps it really fun.
Very cool.
Very cool. I'm Luke Brown. I'm with Keller Williams Realty, and I started in 2011. And so the story, looking back, so Georgie, my wife, so Team Brown is the name of our team, or group, whatever you want to call it. And Team Brown was established at Coldwell Banker when they would call us up for awards. So we never came up with a name. It was just when they would give out the champagne. But so I got started. I actually was an area sales rep for Nutraceutical for 7 years, and I actually just quit that job just a few years ago. And a lot of people probably didn't know that I had another job through the first part of real estate, but during the recession, so I started in 2011 during the recession, they stopped paying bonuses, commissions, all that kind of stuff, and so I'm sitting there, it didn't matter if I was number 1, number 20 with the company, and I was still making the same amount of money, and so Georgie said, I think the market's starting to come back, why don't you get your license, you could sell a few houses and then we could go on vacations again. And so I got my license, in 2011, I was also Rookie of the Year, and so there is a trend.
That is a
None of us
good.
do that.
Yeah, but it was never a plan to like do it full time, but it worked out pretty well.
Cool, cool. So we'll get into our questions then. Let's see here, looking back, what advice would you give yourself? Like if you see yourself now and the things you've learned today or over the course of these years, right? 18 years, 10 years, whatever it is. What advice would you give yourself when you first got into real estate? And we can go down the line, or whoever wants to talk, I'd say just, yeah.
I'll
you're good.
go. I remember in the very beginning, everything is being thrown at you in the very, very beginning, like buying this, doing that. And it's really overwhelming. And I remember buying like a lot of different things, going, okay, I'm gonna buy a database, I'm gonna lead, I'm gonna do all these things, and spending a lot of money doing that. But I really think you should pick 3 things that you think can be successful. And some of those aren't even money things. Those can be that you're just gonna start doing open houses and spending your time instead of spending your money, but spending your time doing things. I just remember having a lot of different things to use, and it's you're trying to be a realtor, but also use all of these different things, different databases and whatever. I just say just pick your top 3 and talk to some other agents too, and so you can avoid those things.
Can I go?
Yeah, go.
Okay. I think if there's one thing that I would look back on, I would have taken care of my database better in the first 3 years. You really don't know, you've got to take care of those people, have them be a client for life. So I would have kept better track, started, as simple as an Excel spreadsheet or something. And I didn't pick up on that till a couple years in, because it is like a fire hose. There's just stuff coming at you all the time. You don't know what's important or not important.
That's great advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too, or both of them, is, giving myself advice back then, I feel like I did everything right. So like, cause I quit my job, I cashed in my 401k, and I went full time. And
Smart.
so I could spend every hour I could, but I agree with that, because you gotta work your sphere of influence first and foremost, which becomes your original database. And I remember times, it still happens every once in a while, but where people that I know very well would come up to me and tell me, I'm so excited I'm buying a house. And what the heck? Oh yeah, you're a real estate agent, I forgot. And that happens to a lot of people, probably everybody at some point. So working that and taking very good care of those people, because they are your core forever. You can buy leads and do all those other things, but your core is your original database that you're gonna spread and create your career, which ends up being a tangible asset at some point if you do it right. So yeah, keep that book of business safe and happy.
Yeah, I would agree, the database is the key,
Yeah.
and really just having a plan, not wandering through it. You can do, any agent can be busy, but you gotta be smart with your time.
Well, like your sphere too, it's everyone you know. Like I have my parents on my sphere, they live in Arizona, right? But I send them my postcards, I send them stuff too, well, they're my parents, they do anything for me. But I put my friends out of state on my sphere too, because they might know someone who wants to buy or sell and they need a referral for something. So yeah, I think that's huge. Smart. So that goes into the next question too. Do you or have you used or paid for lead generation? So basically paid for leads.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, we came up with a consistent plan. We didn't want to dabble in a lot of different things, but we do the Zello and the one thing I've learned with Zillow, if you don't do it all in, it really doesn't have the ROI. So we do the Zillow and then just our regular database, or not database, but CRM, like with Boomtown, just a minimum amount.
What's like your ratio on lead generation, basically?
As far as like our business percentage, like from
Yeah,
each-
correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'd say at this point, 68% comes from our database.
Yeah.
Part of building your database, I feel like you do need to do some of that lead generation, but you'll get to that stage where if you nurture your database, you no longer will have to invest those funds into lead generation if you do what you should do with your database, nurturing them.
I have never purchased a lead, so I can't even add to that. I just protect my sphere and work it. Probably old school like, I don't do mailers, I do pop buys, and I just stay in touch with them. And I wear my name tag everywhere, and I talk to everybody.
So do you like call your people all the time?
So I
kind of
just
deal?
did a big pop buy. Do you guys know what realtor pop buys are? So I'm in a club, this is really a rabbit hole, but I'll be really quick. I'm in a club called PEO, it's Philanthropic Education Organization. We were selling geraniums, big pots. I buy thousands of dollars worth, put this cute little card on, like, you help my business grow, blah, blah, blah. Get in the car at night, have my husband drive me around. We do about 15 a night, leave it on their porch. And I have heard from, we've probably delivered 35 so far. I've heard from every one of my clients except for one. And I think they're out of town. I'm probably gonna have to go water them. So I'm not, it's easy, and I'm just talking to them. None of them have called and said, hey, I want a list today. But it's just me in front of them. Of course, my face is on that little thing I stuck in there. Just things like that. And I go back a couple years and I mix it up, because I keep my database at about 200, those are active. I can't do all of them, but I just want them to remember me. Because I feel like nobody could forget me, but they do.
They
I don't.
No way.
Okay.
No way. I've done some lead generation. I haven't done lead generation in probably about 5 years, but it does work. I would say, obviously, it does work. It just depends on what you want to put into it, and that you are responding to these people, because there a lot do come in, and I know Luke knows over here, but a lot do come in, and as long as you're taking care of them, it could be a lead, can be, direct referral, and if you don't take care of them, they're not gonna use you. There's too many of us.
Well, and I've never done the, pay for lead situation, but there's, free websites, you don't pay for the leads, but you get signed up and be on these websites, and there's probably 100 of them where they have like top agents or whatever, and then those leads come in. If you end up closing them, you pay a referral fee, just like you would if it came from another brokerage. So I do those, or have done those, and then, but like what Kristen said about the pop buys, those are great. I don't physically do those, but we do the same thing, those flower baskets that, high schools sell so they can have their senior parties or whatever. We buy a whole bunch of those, and we're doing the same thing right now, sending them out. We're getting all sorts of people texting back and thanking us for the flowers. And then there's, they do it in front of other people, when we have people over at our brokerage, thank us for the flowers, this person didn't get any. So then you gotta have some spares.
Yeah.
Participation.
There's 2 in my car.
There's lots of ways to lead gen though. And I agree that some people have incredibly successful, pay for lead generations. They're, to me, a lot of phone calls, and where I've just kind of led my business since I've been in it forever is just call the spheres. And those are longer phone calls, but there's less of them.
To piggyback that, even when you're doing your phone calls, not even asking for the business sometimes.
Right.
You don't always have to ask
Yeah.
for the business. You just call them to see how they're, whatever it is that you remember about them, and just check in on them, and just, that's, sometimes you don't always have to ask for it. And they just remember you.
Luke, what would you say your conversion ratios are? Like when you get a lead in, like do you have to call 100 people to get one deal, or what does that look like?
So we find that a 5% conversion rate is really good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
But
Yeah.
our benchmark is 3%.
Okay.
But response time is huge, and and
You have to
having
respond right away.
Like that, we use a pipeline tool, a lot of different tools to make sure that we're nurturing and keeping good, because there's a lot of hungry agents out there.
Yeah. It's true.
It's me over here.
Okay, next question. Are there any specific education or leadership retreats or conventions that have been life-changing that you would recommend?
I'll go. I know that, I don't remember the exact year, probably 4 or 5 years into this, I took a Brian Buffini course, and I've used several pieces of his systems and tools throughout my career.
Yeah.
I've not taken it personally, but I've seen several agents in our office have great success from ninja training. So I think if there's an area of your business that could be lacking, I mean, you're doing everything, maybe it's the sales training part, you know? The other thing is, for 10 years of my career, I did not go to a company convention because I had kids at home and they always had spring sports and they were super good athletes and mama couldn't miss anything. And once I started going, there's nothing like a good old convention to fire you up and come back and kill it. So if your brand has a convention, I mean, once you get a little money in your pocket, I highly suggest going.
Yeah.
I feel like you get back and you're on the cutting edge of all the new tools, all the new systems, and you're just full of fire. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just full
No,
of
I
it.
agree.
do.
I'm so
I agree.
pumped up.
Yeah.
I would agree with her. It's like the conventions have been so tremendous in my career, just going to different ones. I've been with a couple different companies and I've gone to conventions, and if you come home with a pearl, just one pearl that you're just gonna take on and you're gonna dominate it, it changes your business tremendously. I know it can also feel like, you know, drinking from a hose and having too much information, but it's tremendous.
Yeah. Conventions, definitely. I same thing, this is my 3rd franchise I've been with. And I don't think, other than during like the recession, that I didn't go. And I guess a quick story, since people are here for a story every now and again. My life changer, so would have been 2013. So I went through the recession, so like 2005, 2006, 2007, I was probably doing, I don't know, 60 deals a year. So I was doing really well for that time. And then, okay, Wade's doing all this real estate, so now I partner up with a builder and create a construction company, and then I get into some development opportunities. And I have all these things going, and then the recession hit before any of them were ready to sell. So that hammered me, and it just put me in this cesspool. Like, I was just done. Didn't want to do real estate anymore. But that was still my job, get another job. So I got down to, in 2000, I think it was 12, where I think I did 9 deals that year. And so I was like, I need to switch, I need to do something. And this is when I started dating Nicole. And she started asking me what I do for a living, because I'm at home all day, my lawn looks great.
It's tight.
I have plenty of, I was a man of leisure, I truly was. And just hanging on for dear life to, you know, the house I had, or have. So anyway, I switched brokerages, and then I bring her to the awards banquet, and everybody's standing up getting their awards, and they never called my name. And she's like, well, it's not your fault, you know, it's not a big deal, because you just got here like a month ago. You know, how are you gonna compete with that? And I was like, no, they're taking my production from the previous year and including that as well. And I said to myself right then, I'm never ever sitting at an awards banquet again. No way. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. Like, some of the people that were getting awards, I was like, how am I not? So I made that commitment, and in 2014, I think I went from 9 to like 19 deals. And then Nicole gets pregnant with our daughter in 2015. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hammer it. And I did 60 some deals that year. Wow. And then I think the following year I ended up I was like, you know, I beat John Butler out of Central 21 in units. I think I did close to 120.
lots and stuff.
And so that was my life changer, was sitting and just wallowing and being like, there's no way I can't be successful at this. I've done it before, I'm gonna do it again. And here we are.
He
And
does-
I'm developing again. So, which it scared me, because I was like, I don't wanna do it, I'm scared to do it. Did a little 16 lot subdivision, and I can never remember what year COVID was. Is it 2019?
2020.
2020. So 2020, March, we're like paving the roads, it's about to be final platted.
Yeah.
COVID hits, I'm like, oh. And we had just bought another one, right before that we hadn't even started yet. And I was like, we're just toast. And so anyway, luckily it didn't work out that way, but plus I did it different.
I want to say one thing about you, Wade. Nicole's one of the best things that's happened to you.
It's all her.
We were
She
at-
was a life
We were at
changer.
convention one year, and they always have separate things for top agents, and I don't know why I ran with that crowd. But we're in Vegas, Megan was there, and they have a scavenger hunt in Vegas. And these guys
Wow.
killed it. They win this huge, I was on the
Who's
dumb
Nicole?
team.
No, we won a $5 trophy. Right?
There's a little bit of competition.
But we won.
We
Yeah.
win, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the win.
I think
That
that
was
having a
big.
good partner
It's a
is
huge win.
key.
It
Like,
really is.
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's key
Yeah.
too.
Sorry I took a long story.
Okay.
I could have made it longer, but I didn't.
So,
I don't even know the question.
I mean, the question was, any specific education or leadership events that you recommend that you've been
Get a
through?
girl pregnant.
It was the other way around. She anchor babied me.
Here we go. Wow.
Yes, a newly bankrupt realtor.
Don't use that word.
Right?
All right.
Next question.
Did you have anything to comment on
I mean,
that?
I mean, the conventions, the brand conventions are awesome. You come back excited and it's hard to apply everything, but I think it's drilling down and getting to know people in your office. I mean, I'm looking out here and seeing that, like, back in the Coldwell Banker days with like Nate and now with Cody. I mean, just spending time with other agents and sharing and masterminding. I mean, that's really the key. I mean, I was lucky I started and had great mentors. You gotta have a good mentor.
Yeah.
That's a very crucial thing when you're starting your real estate career. But I was surrounded by great people, and just let them pour into them, let them pour into you.
Surround yourself with great people.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. What is it? You are the top 5 people you spend the
Right.
most time with. I think that rings true.
I remember like hearing Joel Elgie, like he's so loud on the phone. And you were like sitting up there, it's Mike Green and Joel and Kevin Bennett's in his own office. He was lucky. But like I mean, we just had cubicles, but
In
I
the
got
bullpen.
to hear Joel. He was just a machine. I learned how to be on the phone, just being around him, and
Yeah.
so just things like that.
Very cool. So Wade, you kind of explained this, but I'll ask the rest of our panel. Was there a particular moment or year when your business started to pivot and take off? Did you start doing something different or change something specific that started yielding better results?
Yeah. So after the crash, after 08, 09, kind of started trickling into, a little bit better of a market in 2012, got a little bit better. And then in 2015, I kind of had the same thing you guys had. My husband was like, are you just gonna just do your nails and lashes and hair every week, or what do we got going on here? And I was kind of into the mode of we're just kind of floating, because it was so long of floating for so long that I needed somebody just to give me a little kick in the butt to get going. And he was my help, honestly. He was like, let's go, if you're gonna do this, let's do this. And he has his own separate business. So during that year of 2015, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get back to that 2004 when things were so good? And what was I doing then? And I changed one thing, and that was asking for business. And that's hard. It is a hard thing to do, but not saying, hey, can I get your business? 'Cause that nobody wants that, but to say, if you know anybody looking for real estate, or you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to help. and leave it
So
at that.
Asking that to like everyone you come into contact with, pretty
You
much,
know,
right?
that's exhausting, but the reality of, you know, if you feel like something's gonna happen, or you feel like they're maybe in the market, or, you know, real estate comes up a lot, and I don't know if it's only because we're in the industry, but I obviously hear it a lot, but I think everybody in the world really does, especially what's happening in the market now. I think it's smart to ask for business in the most kind way, and then not waiting for a response. Don't wait for a yes or a no, more of a statement.
I'll hear someone 20 tables away in
Right.
a restaurant
I
talk about
know.
real estate.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that.
Exactly. I think my aha moment was in 2014, my baby, the last baby at home, graduated. He was headed to Stanford, which is a little expensive, and I realized that my why needed to kick her up or down or whatever, and just things fell into place. I mean, I hate to say I started in 04 and in 16 it really boomed, but I think you get all your systems in place, get rolling, by then you're keeping things in your pipeline, and ever since then, both kids are graduated. I had 10 years of 2 kids in college, so that was rough. Now I'm living for myself, so my why's even bigger. My why is like
Yeah.
retirement and Winnebagos and trips, and you know.
Yes.
So I think if your why are we doing this is huge,
Mhm.
then your inner drive, if you're competitive like me, will get your own butt moving.
And writing it down and seeing it, what your
Yeah.
why is.
Oh yeah, always write your goals
Definitely.
down. That's probably
Seeing it.
another
Yeah.
question, isn't
That's a
it?
great question, yeah, but it is to everyone.
Did you
So
wanna
for-
answer?
Sure. Yeah. For me is when I quit my other job.
I bet.
Yeah.
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 When
No,
you
I mean, like, I
focus
just
full
kinda
on.
let go, cause, I mean, I saw the recession from a distance, with Georgie being she was a bookkeeper at Lakeshore Realty, and I saw it, I wasn't a part in it, but I saw it, and I'm like, there's no way, we're not gonna have that again, like, I'm like, we're due to have that in a certain amount of years, so I didn't wanna let go of that. Then I changed brokerages, and started to see that it was my business. I wasn't building a brokerage's business. I was focused more on building my business, that concept. And I had been representing a builder, and my business plan was so narrow. I was so focused on new construction, cause you get a lot of free leads that way. And so I'm like, I gotta do this, I gotta keep the new construction thing going, cause my return, ROI was great. But the minute I let go of that job, the minute I expanded my business plan, I realized it was more me
Mhm.
than a brokerage,
Yeah,
so that changed things.
so what's your typical work week look like? Like your hours per day or per week, and yeah, what's that look like work-wise?
Me?
Sure you.
I don't know what my hours would be total, but I get up and take our daughter to school out in Hayden, then I drive through some subdivisions, get to the office, and
Do you want me to silent your phone?
it is silent.
You can answer.
It's
it.
Carol-
Always
it's Carol
answer your
Pukey.
phone.
Actually, I should have answered that.
I'll get it.
It's the sign guy.
I'll look at it.
Anyway, yeah, our lights are a little too bright, so Riverstone HOA keeps calling us saying people are complaining. He's supposed to meet me there at 9 o'clock tonight to figure out how to get them dim, so hopefully it's
That's
not
true?
canceled.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's nonstop really, unless I'm actually in the ocean, and then I don't have my phone, but like we work on vacation, we work at home, we work when we're skiing. They did that Real Producers, I kept not wanting to do it, cause I didn't want that in that magazine. You guys know Real Producers that
Yeah.
Matt does? Anyway, Nicole signed me up for it, Nicole, like, and I said, the only way I'm gonna do this is if I get my dream come true, and that's to be on the cover of a magazine skiing. And, cause that was what I wanted to be when I was a kid, was a ski guy. And so anyway, we got, he does this and gets a photographer to go up to Schweitzer, does that iconic photo shoot where you're looking back over Ponderay, skiing off the cornice.
Oh,
but it hadn't snowed for a couple weeks, but it was a beautiful bluebird day, and I had just had shoulder surgery the year before, so I was super kind of not in the position to do this, but I had to send it for the photo. Nicole and Megan are standing on the cornice, and I go off, and right as I'm going off, my phone starts ringing in the air, and at the time it was Eastbound and Down was my ringtone. So that Dukes of Hazzard theme song's playing, and I'm in the air, I start laughing. Jerome's, I can hear him laughing while the camera's going. Land, haul ass on this ice, stop, answer the phone. So it never stops for me, but you know, maybe to the detriment a little bit of the kids, but they're cool with it. So I mean, I just don't ever stop. But I like it. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. What about you, Michaela?
Yeah.
I was just into this, like, seeing him.
That's impressive, like, that's some James Bond stuff
I'm
right
digging
there.
it.
It was
I
pretty
like
cool. It
it.
was a cool photo.
Yeah.
But that came out during COVID, so nobody saw it. So it was the first issue, and nobody saw it.
2020.
Yeah.
Do you have that framed in the office yet?
No, I should get it framed in.
You need to.
Yeah.
Send it to all of us. What's the question again? So it was the.
What's your
I'm
work
doing
week,
the-
like what's
Oh,
your
work
work
week.
week look like, typical work week?
So I'm a new mommy too, so I have a 2.5-year-old, so I like to get up early and get my stuff done. I like to go to, well, I'll start the beginning, or start, well, that evenings. I like to go home, or like to end the evening with, all my emails are answered, all my texts are answered, and I can go to bed and rest. I get up in the morning, make sure everything else is completed in the morning, 5:30, and then by the time she gets up, get ready, and then I'm usually at the office by 9 every day. And that was another thing I did in 15, was to make sure I was showed up, even if I had nothing to do. You can make things to do.
Yeah.
And you can make your business, you can plan for the future. I like to put in my calendar what I'm doing all throughout the week. And if I see open spots, I'm gonna fill it with something, and something to make business. Whether that be a meeting with a lender, or meeting with a client or a customer, or come out and hang out with these cool cats, or or something. So I'd say hours, every day, Monday through Friday. I do take one day off a week with my daughter every Thursday, and then weekends are for open houses. If I feel like I'm slow, then I'm gonna do an open house. That's basically what I do every week.
Cool.
Want to go, or you want me to go?
We can just
Okay,
keep
okay, we'll keep going down the road.
All right.
One thing I just wanna say, I know during COVID, people learned how to work from home, but I think one of the most important things in our business is to get in the office. Now, you don't have to be extreme like me, but I get up early and I have a system at home because the house is quiet, nobody's up, but I'm usually to the office by 7 because I need to get all of my work done before trainees come in and the minutia starts, and you know, before the day starts. But to feel that synergy and what's going on in the office and people talking about this, that, and whatever, I think it's huge. And I don't do any set hours. I'm probably in and out all day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. But I'm just fine working weekends or nights or whatever. And I'm kind of like Wade. I get annoying. I don't ever turn the phone off. So, but the family's fine with it. They've learned to put up with it. So.
Yeah, same way. I mean, we're very structured in how we build our days, but real estate never stops. So we do, the tough thing is everybody in my team wants to take Sundays off because we're kind of all in the same faith mold and that kind of belief system, and that's tough. But
Yeah.
that is the one day I really try to focus on family time.
Yeah.
But
Other than that, nonstop though.
well, you can't
You gotta have balance.
wait 24 hours on
No,
certain things.
no,
you know.
someone else writes them up. So piggybacking that question, you know, it can be so easy clearly to just work nonstop, 7 days a week, nonstop. How do you keep that work-play balance to where you don't get burned out?
I play while I work.
Yeah,
Don't work while I
you're
play.
jumping in.
Yeah.
So-
You wanna write it up.
I mean, really, you know, we do quite a bit of vacationing, really. But what's nice, you know, as opposed to when I started, is you can do everything from your phone. You can do it on an airplane. You can hook up to Wi-Fi and write up a deal and have people sign it, you know, from your phone that you don't even talk to.
Do you tell people that you're gone and away?
Never.
Never.
No, because
So that's good advice.
and so and that is kind of an interesting question, because I'm also with a wife that believes in the power of social media.
Yeah.
So and so there's a lot of times like, please don't post that quite yet, like wait a couple
I usually do
days.
it after.
But she
When they're
does, she
already
agrees
home.
to, but
Yeah.
because if
No,
they
that's
know
tough.
you're
That's
gone,
tough.
they
Get irritated.
respect it.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, you're gone with your family, so I'm gonna go ahead and I won't bother you, you're so busy. I'll call another
call
agent
someone else.
because I respect your family time, so, and I can't handle that. That's how I look at it, you know, and we're our family, you know, we're both in it, so it's not like, I know there's certain situations where maybe that's not as well accepted by the significant other, or the children. My children were all raised in it, so they don't even know any different. You know, my oldest son, who's 25 now, I remember him walking around like somebody was like, for school, like, what does your dad do? And he just starts walking around like that. Like, he's like 6, you know. Okay, that's what I look like. No, it was this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what he was doing. Yeah.
Did you guys agree that a real estate vacation has to be 10 days long? Because you're not on
Yes.
vacation for the first 4.
Yeah.
No, our vacations are like 4 days because he wants to get back all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be great. I like that idea.
You're not on the panel.
So Michaela, but
Yeah.
it seems, at least from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
it seems that you do a great job of going on vacation, and you still post vacations too.
I learned that actually. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just curious how you do that and still keep that
It's-
retention. you know?
I did learn this at one convention actually, that people want to see when you're on your social media, that they want to see you real. They want to just
Yeah.
see you as a realtor, and you know they want to see that you're a real person, that you do travel, that you do have family time, that you do have all these things. So being real is really important, and I can't be apologetic about having a life.
Yeah.
You know, and they do too. They all do, but you know, it's the same thing, like saying no, like you never tell them you're on vacation, because they will call somebody else to do it. And it doesn't matter if they are like your best client in the world, they're still upset you're gone.
Mhm.
Even if they're not really doing business, it's the weirdest thing.
Yep, you quietly leave.
Yeah, you quietly leave, but, and I'm sure I've lost business over it, but you know, I think in this business, you're not gonna win them all.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I do feel like you can leverage things though. That's one thing I've learned over the last few years, is making sure you have admin.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the top agents have one admin for every salesperson on their team. But, I mean, we're not that extreme, but having a solid backup, somebody that can run your business when you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just drop them.
I don't really have anything to add. I have a wonderful husband who supports me working 24/7, because he fly fishes, rides motorcycles, golfs, hunts. He has so many hobbies that if I'm not around, he keeps busy. But when I do go away, I just try to maintain the best I can. Once in a while, I'll get someone in the office to cover for me, but we don't go out of the country much, so you pretty much can work from whatever hotel room or whatever. We did buy a river place on the St. Joe River, and I know my husband was hoping it had no cell service. But it does, and it has great.
Good for you.
So that's kind of my getaway. I try not to work as hard down there.
Yeah.
Because it's very peaceful on
Your time.
my time.
So many experts are saying that the market has shifted or is shifting currently. What are your thoughts on the market moving forward, and where do you see the biggest opportunities in real estate today?
Did anybody go to the economic housing thing today?
I heard it was
Oh,
grim.
what?
It was fun.
I would not call that grim.
Okay.
No.
2008 was grim.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that, so
I wasn't there,
Dietz,
so I don't.
he put up,
Dietz was legit. Yeah.
he is a legit man, and he knows everything about economics and specifically housing, cause that's his focus, but my personal thought, one, is I can't predict the market. I know that I've been doing this forever, but I have no firm belief that what I think is gonna happen is really what's gonna happen, because I've been wrong plenty of times. So, but with interest rates where they're at, I mean, what, 5.25%? You know, we're all spoiled from 2.5% to 3.5%. I don't think that's ever gonna happen again. I think we're gonna look back on 5.5% and say that was a good interest rate, and.
That's where they were in '05.
Yeah, and when it started coming down, everybody was like, oh, right, let's go.
Right.
And it was 5.5 or 6%.
Yep.
So, you know, as far as that goes, you know, our microclimate here is semi-insulated from the rest of the effects, you know, where populations are going down, ours is going up. Our inventory is climbing a little bit, but it's still suffering from lack of new construction that's been going on for 10 years. And everybody here really needs to understand that our social climate in Kootenai County is changing. There's people coming here that are anti-growth. They're shutting the door behind them, and they're showing up at P&Zs and city councils saying, don't annex this, you know, like, I want it to be here. My kid plays in those forests behind my subdivision house that was built 3 years ago, but I don't want anybody else to be able to have that. And, you know, everybody knows, I mean, the election yesterday went totally anti-growth for those elected officials that were, you know, up for re-election, that were at least semi-supportive of it. So I think we're gonna see that cause a problem with inventory again, which again will increase prices, even though interest rates are going up. I mean, this is just me talking, but the logic tells me that that's true. And, you know, everybody needs to be a part of that. Like, you know, as a new agent, get involved in things like the NIBCA or YPN or any of these things where you can stay up to date on what's going on, because the anti-growth movement is powerful and they're organized, and there's not a lot of them, but they're getting the word out better than we are, you know, and we're trying to do all these campaigns like through North Idaho Building Contractors to educate the public on why we need some responsible growth, not just stop growth. So I don't know why I went on that, but
Well, that's very real
That was a
today.
good
Yeah.
answer.
That's very real today, though.
So anyway, I think it's really important, you know, hopefully everybody did vote yesterday, and, you know, cause I can't tell you how important it is for us to continue to increase our inventory. You can answer it. Anyway, that's, you know, I think we're in for a change. I don't think it's gonna be a crash.
No.
I think it's gonna be, but it's gonna get tougher, you know, it's just gonna get tougher.
I think we're gonna have a soft landing. I think we're gonna stabilize. We're up right now in inventory by 17%, but demand is down 17%. So having that said, is we just have to prepare and be willing to shift with the market. I made that mistake actually in 2008, where I just kept going and thinking that the market was just gonna come back. Just this wasn't gonna happen, like avoiding what was gonna happen and taking listings at the higher marks versus pricing them where they should be. And having a lot of inventory and had too much going on, and bills were still coming in and nothing was selling. So just adjusting with the market as it adjusts, and have your, you know, your, I call it the elevator speech, that you tell people, and giving them information, not to, oh, the market's just crazy, oh, it's coming down, or whatever it is, but have that good thing in your pocket that you can just tell people quickly, and then to give them hope that this market is still going, and still going.
What's your
I
elevator?
knew you were gonna say that.
Sure.
I haven't had one in a while, to be honest,
Like, hey,
but
Michaela, how's the market?
how's the market? The market's great, still going great. Still, you know, sellers are getting top dollar for their homes. I feel the market's still going to continue. We still have a huge demand. People are coming this direction. we call them the cows, and I tell this to people, California, Oregon, and Washington. The herds are coming, they're still coming. So come on over,
Steal that
you
one.
know, steal that one, take that one. Good, Cody will. They're still coming this direction, so, and we're an area where people wanna live. And so, you know, and that can go for both your buyer and your seller. So a lot of buyers right now, I feel like are just like, oh, they just can't, 5-6%.
I know.
And to take them back to where it was a couple years ago, or not a couple, but 2005 and 6, that those were the interest rates, and that's more normal. Like my mom and both my mom and dad, their interest rate was 17% when they bought in the 80s. So this seems crazy because everybody's used to those 2s and 3s, which I wish I would have bought more than.
Yeah.
I think the same, just educating your sellers right now and keeping them posted on what's going on, because for so long, they've been just reaching for the stars and pricing a little bit higher than the neighbors sold for, so educating on, hey, it may take a little longer, and you really have to be where the comps are, no blue sky right now. Also, for buyers, I feel like it was a little lull for a couple weeks. I also noticed that $500,000 and $600,000 properties are selling cash now again, lots of cash. Cause I study the hot sheet, all of them, expired, canceled, closed. I go through the, just for my own knowledge. And
Constantly.
so I think with investment loans being at what, 6.75, I think Alicia said yesterday or something, the cash buyers are coming back out and picking up those investments. But everybody pretty much I'm working with right now is out of state still. They're coming this way. Good, bad, or whatever.
I think we have to remember too, I mean, 2 years ago, it was like, we found that it was like an 18-month nurture.
Yeah.
And how quickly that changed.
Yes.
And so just adjusting back to,
Nurturing,
yeah,
it's a good
exactly,
word.
right. And so we found that people were just jumping in the boat last year, and then you lost track of those other people. And so just, we're trying to sift back through and get back into our pattern.
Get more engaged with
Right.
everyone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are the top 1 to 3 things that you do daily that brings you the highest results? Like the best return on your time and investment in real estate?
Lead generation.
Lead gen for you, yeah.
Yeah, you get stuff,
Which lead gen, that could be like hitting the pavement, calling your sphere,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
similar thing.
yeah, database nurturing, all that kind of stuff, just
Yeah.
making sure you're not giving up your activities
Do you door knock? I'm just curious.
until Scott Carr sent a picture of me.
Wanted plus
See?
wanted.
He's like, yeah, I saw you and one of my clients, like, put
Ring.
you on, like, next
Oh.
door or whatever.
I
So
used
I'm
to
like, I
door
don't know
knock
if I wanna
too.
be up
Did
there.
you?
Yeah.
Next door, like, who is this
Oh, it's
person on
bad.
my phone?
I don't have a real consistent habit, but one thing I do every day is I get my hard crap out of the way early. Because I like to visit and walk around the building, see who's in, see who's working, see what's going on. So if I have that scratched off my list, I'm much happier.
I'm a little OCD, so my thing for me, is just making sure everybody is touched. Every single person. If you think of somebody, they're touched that day, whether it be a phone call, or a text, or an email. That's big for me. Responding is like, it's a pet peeve of mine when people don't respond, so I'm constantly responding to every single person, even if it's, I don't have any news for you, but I just wanted you to know that. I think that's a huge thing, and you will gain a lot of clients from doing that, because then they think that you're their only client, really. And then, like, I think I already spoke about just my emails and just, it sounds so like redundant, but it's just, it works.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I do every day is, well, while I'm driving, is call somebody that I haven't talked to for a while, but like following up with, your sellers, your buyers, just talking on the phone. If you aren't calling people, the phone's not gonna ring. I mean, unless you're paying for leads, even then, you still have to be the initiator of phone calls. People get in this, like, or we're in the habit, but it's not happening now, where people are just calling and saying, I want that listing, I saw it on realtor.com or whatever. So making calls, and then I guess the other thing, I don't do it daily, but trying to reach out to somebody new, whether it's, you know, at a title company or a builder, a landowner, whatever, but just trying to kind of expand my fungus. into- So, and use words like that. So, I learned as an English lit major, that if you drop some weird words every once in a while, you become much more top of mind. Like, it just helps,
Spread the fungus.
right?
Algae.
You can be algae, I'll be
Yeah,
fungus.
yeah.
How do you keep yourself inspired and motivated?
My competition.
Can you expand on that?
Ooh, yeah. Like when I feel, this is just me though, this is another thing about being in the office. It's like you're hearing everybody else doing business, and if you're not doing business, you're like, okay,
Little envy, huh?
Little envy, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do something. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna start calling people, I'm gonna start doing whatever. It just kinda, it gets you pumped to do it, so that's just me, I don't know, but
No,
That's
same.
me too.
you too?
Okay, let me add on to that. I never look at what my competition's doing. I am my own worst enemy. I have goals, I have the 5 Olympic rings, and then each ring means something, and I come in, look at my rings, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna have to do to get there? And I just get with it. I don't ever know what your volume is, or your volume, or anything.
We know
I'm my
yours.
own.
I know all of yours
Yeah, we know
very,
everything.
very well. And all of
I've always
yours.
been like that. I'm just
What are your rings? Like, do you have like a financial ring, a personal ring?
retirement ring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Honest to God, one of them's my weight, because I feel like I'm battling right now. And I just have them all, and I have numbers in them all, they all mean something to me, and I wanna touch on them every day, and I wanna get it done. I'm my own most competitive, I don't know if it's spirit or curse.
No, I think it's a good thing.
Well, and not just, you know, trying to keep up with whoever else necessarily. My personal motivation is to not, like, cause, and some of the independents don't have this necessarily, but like the franchises have these national awards, right? That if you do a certain amount of units or commissions or whatever that you get, and going to those conventions and not having the best award on your lanyard badge bothers me. It drives me freaking crazy.
I can't go hang out with the cool kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have special events
They
for those
do.
people, you know?
Most
So,
VIP.
yeah, so, or top agent retreats they send you to. So there's the national convention, then if you get the higher awards, oh, this one's in the Bahamas, or this one's in Hawaii. And so, yeah, I mean, those things motivate
You
me.
don't wanna miss that.
No.
I think too, I know we've talked a lot about conventions, but I think it's also education that's just right here. And I think you can always learn from right here from our classes, and anything that you take, the more education, the more tools you have in your belt that you can spread to the public and your clients, the better you're gonna be.
And get involved in your association, this has nothing to do with the question, but, getting involved in the community and the association and committees, it somehow makes you better at your job, or at least makes you more known.
Well, it's also, like, I've noticed being a part of YPN, I'll just give this little pitch. It makes me feel like I'm a part of something that's a lot bigger than me,
You
right?
are.
So that makes me
Absolutely.
feel, like, it's that good feeling too.
Totally.
And it inspires you, it really does.
It does.
So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm same thing. I mean, I don't study the numbers as much as I used to, because we're setting some personal goals. It used to be all business and money and everything like that, so we're trying to really balance, and is at the end of the day, if you wanna feel like you won that day, and it's hard if it's just focused on business every day. So, but I mean, I've always had a very competitive nature. I remember seeing agents doing crazy numbers back in their person. I'm like, and how competitive I am. I'm like, there's no way I'll ever be to that level. But if you surround yourself with good people, you can.
Yeah. What characteristics or traits do you believe successful realtors and people have in common? So just traits that successful people have in common.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important, so important to have good relationships with your colleagues.
Yeah.
I feel like agents are really the people that put the deal together. And I know this probably is like totally against CAR or whatever, but I really do think it's the agents that put it together. Sometimes it's not the buyer or the seller.
And keep it together.
And keep it together. So I think exactly 100%. Chris Briner and I right now, same thing. So I feel like, yeah, I think I'm done. One of these guys.
We are all colleagues though, like
Yeah.
we're colleagues,
yeah.
like you're with Berkshire, you're with Avalon, now Century 21, but we're all colleagues.
Right.
So we need to remember that, I think.
And you remember your experience, so you had an experience with Wade or one of these guys too, and you're like, I wanna do another deal with them. But honesty, I think that's the biggest thing, even if you screw up on a deal or whatever it is, or your client's doing something, but that's not gonna affect them in the sale, then just be honest.
Yeah, and, oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, like, you know, the integrity and drive to do the right thing as best you can. You know, there's, you know, recently when we started Berkshire Hathaway, we kind of changed hats a little bit, even though Nicole's the broker. I'm trying to pass on business to the agents so I can do more other things. And one of the agents is, you know, and I can't remember exact details of it, but the commission rate was wrong in the MLS because they had discounted it for whatever reason. But the MLS still showed 3, but the total commission was like 3.5. And so now this agent who's worked really hard to get this listing sold is now like, oh man, I screwed up, it's in there wrong. Long story short, called the other agent and the owner of the other brokerage, because we've been friends and done stuff for so long, we both agreed, hey, let's just, you know, work it down and split it in half, no harm, no foul. You have a bad relationship with somebody and try to make that phone call, they're gonna be like, sorry. You know, you don't.
You got that on camera?
So it was Michaela's hand.
Game over.
But the reality of it is, you may think that this one deal that you're doing is so important and you're gonna just hammer it home and mess with the other agent, cause problems, create speed bumps where none need to be had. It gets remembered and everything comes around. We're all gonna do a deal together sooner or later. I mean, it just happens. And to be able to, like, these guys, all day long, I see an offer come in from one of those guys on my listing, that's good, that's happy.
Yeah.
You know, cause I know that I'm gonna be able to get through it, right?
Get to closing.
And so that's, I think, really, I mean, for a career, you gotta do it, cause everybody knows everybody here.
Yeah, I think we already touched on the daily habits any other daily habits that you do? Like, what about personal goals? Do you try to tackle your personal stuff first? Cause I know we're talking a lot about business, but you know, where do you fit in your personal stuff in that day?
I've gotta be, consistency is really huge for me. So if I don't get up and have my quiet time, my devotional and my workout, I'm pretty much toast. I'm worthless that day. So I'm.
So in the morning, you wake up and you have your time.
Routine.
Yeah.
Gotta have that routine. Otherwise, day kind of just scattered from then on out.
Mine's kind of the opposite. I get up in the mornings, but, and I have a routine, but I get home and I'm pretty wound up from the day because I kind of have an unlimited amount of energy. And so then I go on my run or my walk or do that because I feel like I kind of decompress. Get home, decompress, and then do that, so. But my morning's chores.
Doing all the things.
Yeah, doing my things at home when it's quiet and things I need to do.
I'm the same. I treat my house as my sanctuary. That's my time, my house, this is where I am. But I do work from home, obviously we all will. My thing, it kind of sounds crazy, but my husband knows that when I walk in the door 10 minutes by myself. And that's just for me to come down from, because we're all the time. And it's 10 minutes, just me by myself. That's usually changing and whatever. And then, and I take a shower and I wash the day off.
That's cool. It's a nice plan of words. I like that.
I'm a better mom and a better wife if I do that.
I don't know, I just schedule. My phone, I schedule stuff, so, you know, I just go where the phone says. And then usually there's some of it, yes, like this, it knows on this panel. Yeah, I just put it in my phone, and some of it's fun stuff, I'm like, all right, I get to do some with Nicole or the kids or
And that's your
whatever.
appointment.
Yes.
You just schedule
Oh, yeah,
your
it's,
appointments.
yeah, and I have to have that, or I won't do anything enjoyable.
Treating it as a real
Mhm.
appointment.
Yeah, definitely.
So what question, anyone from the crowd have any questions? I'll open it up for everyone else to kind of ask the panel some questions. Pauline?
What do you guys think about the 1% companies coming in town now and some of the other brokerages like that are advertising on TV that buys your house, the 1%? We're seeing more and more of those in the MLS. I mean, it's real. I get a lot of calls about them. So your
Well,
thoughts?
they certainly are disruptors, but, I haven't let that bother me as much as all the, new brokerages that have no brokers nearby, so their agents are flailing and maybe not trained properly, and I don't know, that's more my frustration.
I think for me, like they've been around, as Paulette knows, they've been around for ever and ever and ever. I don't look at them really as competition because they're getting a service with us versus like
Full service.
full service. They're getting an amazing, experience. I just think they do it. I think people are gonna pick and choose, we know, but, I don't know, what do you think?
So, well, I'm with you guys on that, so, you know, some of those discount brokerages where you call the homeowner to schedule the showing, and you
Yeah.
present the offer to somebody somewhere in Arizona, we all know who these people are. But the one thing that what Paulette made me think of is some of the, big-time national builders that are now starting to grab some land here and starting to develop some land. Some of those are 0% commission to a buyer agent. And so when they come in and they start putting their homes up for sale, and you've been working with your client for the last 3 or 4 months trying to get them a house, they bump into this new subdivision, go in, talk to their sales team, you're out,
You're out.
right? So one of the things I personally have been doing is talking directly to those people and trying to make their local folks understand, because these guys are doing 50,000 homes a year across the country. But the people that are coming here locally are the ones that are gonna have to deal with that. And so what I've been trying to convey and pass on, and I think so far it's been met with, good reception, is you can't do that and expect to, have a great relationship with the community. We have almost 3,000 agents here, you're either married to one or related to one, or we're married to one, I guess. They're everywhere, we got 160,000-ish people in the county, there's 3,000 agents.
I know.
So, they try to do that, and some of the things they're saying, well, we're gonna do this for, our very first home's gonna go to a vet, or this, that, okay, that's awesome. But then your next 200, you're gonna alienate all of us. So, that's one thing that, at least personally, I've been trying to work on, and, hopefully help that out. But I agree, as far as competing against a discount broker, you all know that seller, all they care about is winning the commission battle, even if they're gonna sell their house for 50 grand less,
Yeah.
but they paid $5,000 less commission.
There's just no representation. I mean, I'm sure there's a representation agreement, but there's just none
Right.
compared to us, and we're there for them.
Agreed.
In a very succinct way, maybe in 1 or 2 sentences from each of you, what would you say to someone to say, why should I use a realtor? I want to sell my home by myself.
I would use a realtor because one, you have the protection of the brokerage, the financials, the E&O, the attorney relationships, should something go wrong. Not that it will, but it could. And it may not even be your fault, maybe something from the other end. And secondarily, we're going to take the time to ensure that your home is priced right, advertised properly, to the point where everybody looking for a home like yours is gonna know it's available. Whether they call me, Michaela, or you, or some other agent, you want them to know that your home's available. You can't do that as a for sale by owner.
To piggyback on that too, I do tell them that E&O insurance, that's why we have that. They're not protected. So even if they're closed, they're done, they've moved on, they're off to Arizona, they could still get sued later. So it's not over, we're protected under E&O insurance.
Just to keep piggybacking so we don't repeat all that.
Yeah.
Right.
I always tell people I'm a fierce negotiator. I'm loud, I'm a driver, I'm working for them. Also, it's security, safety, we have eye boxes, we know who goes in, how long they're in there. You wanna just vet your own people that come through the door, that call you, cause they saw, your number out there. So I try to go from that angle. Plus, there's so many deadlines and important things that go on in our contract. That's me, I'm the keeper of all that, to get it to close.
Yeah, we focus on the E&O as well. I mean, the protection. We live in a very litigious society now, and so that's the biggest factor there, yeah. But, I mean, there is a value thing about, it's like going to a used car lot versus the dealership, and really getting the true service that they're gonna actually do a full bumper to bumper. But yeah, I mean, they're actually getting a professional. And I think it's really important to not ever see yourself as, you should be an expert in your field, to the point where, you bring that value. Would you write your own, you hire an attorney for a purpose, would you write your own contract? So, don't ever diminish your value.
Plus, I believe it's been proven that if you decide to you're my seller right now. If you decide to list your house, and you want a certain price out of your home, what do you want out of your home? And they tell you, whatever, 400,000, awesome. Why don't we try for a little bit higher, depending on the market, of course, things have changed, but why don't we try a little higher so you can cover the commissions? Then you have my full representation, and I will do all of these things for you, and I get it marketed for you. And it's proven as you hire an agent that you will make more money going through me than you will doing it on your own. And people are casing homes to rob from you. Do you really wanna go through all this?
You just scared me.
That's right.
Use that. Cody.
I look up to all you guys a lot because you guys have been in the real estate industry for a long time and almost double what I've been. I feel like I've been in it forever too. If you guys are sitting here next year, this time, I would like to hear from all of you guys, if possible, your prediction of average purchase price in Cooney County, where interest rates are, and how many agents in Cooney County. What would you say?
So, the number, yeah, we should. Whoever's closest, we'll each put in 25 cents.
There you go. $1.
It's recorded.
$1 on the line.
So what is there, 2,900 agents? Is that about right?
No, we're 2,100 in the association right now.
Really?
MLS has more, MLS has like 25.
Okay.
So
So
you
if
can
there's,
take that one if you want.
if there's 2,500 in the MLS,
Yeah.
so 400 of those are those discounters, right? I mean, I don't know what they are. Or are you talking about like appraisers and stuff?
Yeah, there's a big, just say 2,500, that sounds like a nice number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say there's more agents.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say the average home price can be less.
More agents, less.
The interest rate's gonna be different.
Good answer. Good answer.
It won't be lower.
I don't know, I'd say we have 100 more agents. think the sales price will probably be down by 3%. And interest rates will be at 6. That's my May 2023.
I was thinking 6 1/4.
6 1/4.
Yeah.
I think we ended last year median price at 480, we're now median price at 530. I think the market, I think we're gonna lose agents, I do. I watch this, cause it's just it's hard. It's not as easy as it was, and it's not gonna get any easier for us either. I think, interest rates, I don't think I've heard they're gonna go up to 7, Ryan?
Shriver.
Down?
Deed said
Down.
6, so that's why I said 6.
So, probably 6 1/4 sounds really good, that sounds good. It doesn't sound good, but sounds where it should be. And prices will continue, well, with inventory still being up and demand being down, we've gotta level out somewhere. So, I think we're gonna see a down in the summer, and I think we're gonna see a spike in October.
Boy, she's pretty specific.
Yeah.
I just want to address the agent count. Having been on the car board for years now and the other board, we always gain agents. We lose a lot every year, but I get to recruit at real estate schools, and there's every single month we have new agents coming on. And if you look at our list here, it probably averages 30 new agents a month.
49 in March.
Yeah, super, 49 in March. So, I don't think we're going to, we are definitely gonna lose some agents
Right.
because some are
Yeah.
doing 0. But they keep coming on because this is a great job. And they think it looks easy, or we make it look too easy.
You do.
Yeah.
All my clients get their license.
Two of my clients are in this crowd right now.
All the time.
Don't you just show up at closing and just collect a
See you at
big
the
check?
closing.
For doing nothing, you know?
Great ad. Remember that?
That was a
ad
great
that was
ad.
out last year? I
Yeah.
love that.
As far as median price, we have to probably
Balance.
just level off, so.
Yeah,
I'll
plateau.
guess.
Where are we at median price right now?
430.
Sorry,
530.
so 3,500.
580,
530.
take 10.
480 to 530.
Yeah, no, I think we'll stabilize it, but, I mean, I don't, yeah, kinda like that, maybe like. Just
510.
Just, yeah, north of 5, but the 6 1/4. But yeah, the agent, it seems like the school, we have more schools now, and it's honestly not that much money to keep, so
Or time.
Wouldn't it take a couple years for us to see that diminish anyways, what?
Softer.
I would think
well,
so, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Didn't in
What's
2008.
the percentage of people that didn't sell residence last year?
it's crazy, I've never been in a downturn, I've been in real estate 11 years. so.
What's it, yeah, what's the percentage of,
It was a lot, you guys.
What's
That
it, like
sold
800?
0.
wasn't it like 30?
0 deals.
It's like 32% with
Yeah,
those
Which
guys.
is a big percentage.
Yeah,
Did
32%
not
had
sell.
no sales.
Ones.
Yeah, Sarah did those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
32%.
You guys
Well, I
did-
think about the same
Yeah.
percentage did 1 or 2,
32%.
right?
Yeah,
It was, yeah.
something like that. Question, Sean?
No, out of our membership.
With the upcoming
So they're in
difficult
there, but
times that I think you guys
hold a
are
license.
going to see, what advice would you give a newer agent or even seasoned agents or agents that have been in the industry for a while who are maybe in a rut to give them the inspiration and advice to get to the level that you guys are at?
I just feel like you have to be in the business. You know, you have to show up at functions, you have to listen to what's going on, you have to talk to, it's kind of a package deal. I
All
see
in.
agents that like just vanish for 4 days and then pop in for 30 minutes. You have to be in it. That
Show
doesn't
up.
mean, you don't,
More
you know,
consistent.
may have to get another job, but maybe it's a bartender at night, which would be great for picking up business, you know, something like that. So be in it.
Like at the Lakers.
Yeah.
Bunker bar. I piggyback that with just all in and showing up. I think that's a big one too.
Yeah.
Coming up with your speech of what you wanna say, cause people they're asking you because they're looking at you, cause that's where they're gonna feel, and that's where they're gonna tell everybody they know what they heard from you. So, And just to get inspired, I would say classes, surround yourself with people that are producing. Not the people that are ready to go to lunch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta be eating at your desk type of
It's one of those, it's like a boll weevil in my ear. Hey, you wanna go to lunch? No, I don't go.
I don't go to lunch, I'm sitting right here.
Yeah, somebody bring me something to eat.
Back to the basics, I mean, remember where you had your success, just look at, and track your success, so you can go back and find that activity level again. I would say.
I'm a new agent. My wife's been doing it for about 6 years, but we're doing the husband-wife team, so super excited about that. But any tips that you guys would have as far as like going into business with your spouse and like that work environment, maintaining that success, but also still like having a good marriage and not hating each other?
So far.
I have advice. Later.
Yeah.
She's got a full
Yeah.
now.
Side hustle.
Great question, that's a great question.
I don't know, you'd
Well,
start.
you start,
You start.
okay.
Well,
Well, yeah, so I was the buyer's agent, she was a listing agent, and then anytime we had a hard client, I became both.
There you go.
So no, I mean, it didn't work for us to be in sales together, because you constantly were talking about real estate and everything. I mean, did you do this, did you do that kind of a thing, so it depends on you, how your relationship is, but I would say that you really should find your niche, like roles that you feel, like at the end of the day, you feel like you're a success and you're not beating each other against the wall. Yeah.
Well, Nicole and I have been working together as well as my sister-in-law. And I think for us, the success comes from avoiding that kind of situation where, and hopefully, and usually you never even have to bring it up, did you do this? Because CC everybody always on the emails or whatever, don't like, and I'm probably the worst one, where like, did you do this, did you do this, did you do this? But the less you can do that, and make it an enjoyable, like this is something we're doing together to have fun and achieve mutual goals, to, and be proud of the other one when they do something that's worth it, like not just random pride, people know when you're being fake about that, or at least I do. But I think it can be, it's incredibly rewarding for me to be doing this with my family, and like more so than I would ever guess. It was a little scary at first. And then Nicole's like, oh, well, Megan wants to be a part of it too. Oh my gosh, what if that doesn't But, they have great personalities for it, and we just, when we do go on vacations together, we're all sitting in the hot tub together thinking about whatever, like Megan and I were, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 years ago, 4 o'clock in the morning, hot tub and Nicole's in bed, and we're talking about today, having our brokerage, having this, having, developments again and all that. So once you start sharing those dreams and joys, I think that's where you can create success, rather than needling the other one because you did something that they didn't or whatever. That's disaster.
And I would let Diana, the expert, be the boss.
Oh, she's the boss.
Okay.
Oh, I knew that company real quick.
Anyone else have? My significant other is also in real estate. We work together, and I know that we set a time, like after 8 p.m. I know I'm not on the panel, I don't know. We set a time, like after 8 p.m. or after a certain time, I don't wanna talk about work. Like we're not talking about work, because I respect my time and her time, and I think that helps us have a better relationship, because then it opens the door for other conversations. And I think that's, at least for me, that's what's needed in a relationship with my spouse.
You really have a good idea though.
Oh, dude. And I'm like, one more thing. No, and of course, there are always those epiphanies all the time, but, yeah.
We just talk about work. I don't even know Wade anymore. Like, just.
That's, yeah.
Well, I have an intimate relationship with 2 of the 4 panelists, so.
He ain't lying.
Can you talk a little louder?
Real quick, I have a question, but also on that 1% thing, we saw this in 08, they eat themselves. So we're going into that market where they're gonna eat themselves. You can't run a brokerage on it, just, so let them do what they do. But the question was, that I have for you is, where do you see our development going? North, east, west, and I think personally, I think upward, you know. Kind of.
Up is north?
No,
No,
up
up
and
is in
north.
Skyward.
Vertical would be.
Oh, so you
going
do mean
vertical.
up?
Up is
Okay.
in
I
north.
personally think we're going vertical, but where do you guys?
Well, just to, we went to a P&Z for a 90-acre commercial annexation, last week, or 2 weeks.
Is that in Raptor, or just?
It's in Post Falls.
Oh.
And, it was 100% commercial because everybody that's going in front of P&Z is getting shut down if they have multifamily or residential or anything. So we're doing this commercial because it needs commercial. It will help alleviate all the traffic concerns that they have about creating more residential. So we're going in full commercial, height restriction is 105 feet. P&Z said we want to lower that to 45.
Wow.
So we'll recommend for approval if you agree to 45-foot height restriction, which all of a sudden takes out hotels, takes out certain medical facilities, things like that. So while I agree with you, I think that it's also an incredibly straight uphill battle right now with the officials that are currently not necessarily in power, but making the decisions.
The anti-growthers.
So, that being said, I think the prairie, obviously, that's gonna continue to grow, and then north.
Second that notion.
Well, I mean, we know of a couple projects that'll be starting here pretty soon that will go vertical. So, I mean, like, I guess it really depends on the niche, like if it's the luxury market or if it's affordable housing. So, but when we hear about, I think there are certain projects that are holding up some of that residential, so that would be my question. In my mind, I'm thinking about, over by Hutter, when those homes can even start and that kind of stuff, so, it will be interesting where development goes next.
Well, Hayden has a large project off Lancaster, that big one that's been in the works for a while.
Is that the Nook?
Hayden Canyon?
Hayden Canyon.
That's been in the works like 20
Yeah,
years.
and
They're
people think
turning
it just
dirt.
got brought up, but they're starting to turn dirt, but isn't that like a 1,500 home sites or something?
Not that one. So the southeast corner of Lancaster and Government Way, which would be the farthest south outskirts of what is the entirety of Hayden Canyon's development, is they're turning into, I think it's 160 some lots. And that is one of those national builders that I was talking about, that Paulette was, made me think of, yeah. So which is, I drive out there every day to drop off kid at school, and so like call them all the time. Say, hey, we gotta meet. Meeting them again tomorrow. Like, just please don't do this. But then there's other portions, so the owner of that's been selling off pieces to a couple other people as well. It isn't developed yet, that will be, but that's gonna be, it took those guys a long time to figure out all the sewer issues, but they finally did.
Any other questions? Sierra?
What are the top 2 attributes of the closing officer that you choose to work with? What was you? Not for you.
What was the question?
It's my turn.
What was the question?
Top 2 attributes of the escrow officer you choose to work with and direct business to.
So, okay, fine. The top 2 is, keeping me informed
Yeah.
and getting it to closing properly, like, you know, get the title report to us fairly quickly, you know, answer the phone if I,
Quickly, what is a title report quickly, do you mean?
before the
Before
6 days.
closing.
Yeah, like whatever's on the contract, I guess, you know, it's nice having it a little sooner than that, but, and I know a lot of people don't read their title reports, you know, you get something in escrow and agents don't even
Everybody
open them.
reads them, Wayne, don't
They
tell me
do?
that.
Well, no, you should.
I read 'em.
You should read them. Everyone needs to read
I
'em.
wanna have, an escrow officer that I know and can trust with my clients if for some reason in the world I can't get their closing. And that would be able to answer their questions and have my clients feel confident that I didn't drop them on some
Yeah.
stranger, so.
I think it's the service, but it's also the client experience. I mean, that's the end, I mean, that's the culmination of their experience, and so you bring them that far, they've gotta be able to relate to them and connect with them, just like we did.
And then there's
during the
good cookies.
transaction. Yeah.
Good cookies.
Yeah.
They better have good cookies first, just kidding. I think, with the gal that I use quite a bit, I appreciate them going through the title report and emailing me if there's any issues. So I know that that's what I'm looking for. Second thing, I don't want the title rep or escrow to let me know that there's a problem that I can't fix. If I can't fix it, I don't wanna know about it. Because otherwise, and I'm a problem solver, I think we all are as agents, we're problem solving. So if you're calling me to tell me about a problem I can't fix, then now I feel like I've gotta do something and I can't. Unless it turns into a point that I need to participate.
And I think the one other one I would add to that too is, and most of the escrow officers are like this, and when you're at a closing table, keep it a little bit light, cause these people are stressed out.
Right.
And
Big purchase.
occasionally there'll be situations where it's like, oh, I haven't seen the interest rate that high, you know, or whatever, like, you know. Right. And so, you know, a little bit of levity and making sure, you know, because that's how I kind of live my life as best I can, because otherwise I wouldn't be happy. Yeah, so but yeah, I think that's important too, is a good face, you know, to client relationship too.
Yes. Other questions here?
Just to go off what we were saying, do you find that closers, escrow officers are too serious? Is that pretty common in?
Not necessarily, I'm just saying that's, are you going somewhere with this?
No.
Are we not setting it up the other way?
No, I'm just curious because now that I think about it, and all the other, yeah, you know, that can be an issue. So do you find that to be ubiquitous in this area?
I don't think it's common at all, but there's a few.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyone else? Questions?
Can I'd like to pop in a few things here. One though, just to kind of piggyback on this escrow conversation a little bit. My background has been real estate since the mid-80s. I was in lending, started in Alaska. I've done it in 4 states. I did almost 9 years with Farm Credit Services while I had a buffalo ranch. Came back, and Idaho is where God wants me to die. It's where I started it when I was 3. But those years in lending, I obviously had my favorite escrow people, but it was from that other side of the table. And I wore a lot of different hats over those years, not just origination, but portfolio and construction and collection and all of it. And my best escrow people, whichever state I was in, were, and this isn't every transaction, this is gonna be the one-off transaction, they were the problem solvers. You get into something sticky, you get into something unexpected, it could have been, you know, in the chain of title that never surfaced until now, it could be with the clients and the people you're dealing with. But it was every single time I knew, including here in town, I was with one of the banks here prior to leaving that side of the table, and it was, I know which closers one of my last roles was I was clearing all the HUDs, generating all the HUDs, doing all the back and forth with the closers. You're not clear to fund till, hello, I tell you you are, you can't do anything. And I knew which closers, their HUD would come back balanced the first time. We didn't have a lot of back and forth. I knew which ones I would struggle with, and it would be, you know, just chew up a lot of time in the day. And I think in the whole industry, being either the escrow closer, and lately I've put appraisers on that list, those are the two jobs I never want. I know what they do, I know how hard they work, I know you get loan docs in and you've got, you know, 0.8 hours to have them in front of somebody, and that stuff's very real. It's hero stuff every day. So the filter I've always used, and I still use it today, is that the best escrow people I work with, and there are many, you can't always, you know, spread the joy or the business to so many, because there are some awesome ones. But I'll be on the couch at 10:30 at night, cleaning up email, doing last things, and bam, there's my escrow closer responding. I was just trying to push stuff, you know, off my plate for the day, but I know which ones are out there working the way I work, and they're not 9 to 5 people. I don't think I know one escrow person who's a 9 to 5. But I think it's really what you show each other year in and year out. I do business in Washington too, I know a lot of us do, same thing over there. And even to that note, and I'm just gonna say this because it might be the elephant in the room question, but one of the things in the last few years that it just catches my attention, and I have to kinda, I'm usually not with anybody